any means attacking anybody. I mean, we've done wonders what we have. I just wanted to kind of put in perspective what we have, what we could have, and how it will affect our kids.
I would say the last 2 years, specifically the last year and the last year, we have done more to uncover and tear apart the educational piece, much like we did in the business office. And we have uncovered some areas that, because of this, have to be addressed. And because of the volume of things that are coming down the pike, it is highly critical, and I thank Ms. Benson for mentioning it here, that we can't put it on one person or two people. Why has it worked the way it has? Because we have great principals in our buildings and we have great teachers that have stepped up and done more with less, but we are really thin. And for us to move forward and to address the things that we are identifying, and we'll go over those when we talk about my goals and that later on, we need that separation. It would be pre-K 5 for Susan, 6 through 12 with the secondary person. We have identified a candidate for it internally that makes a lot of sense, that I'll discuss with the board probably at our next executive session. But clearly we are at a place right now with the education where we do need to address some systemic issues that we've identified, and we will do that, and I think we'll see. I think it's a position that we absolutely have to have, because if we're going to get better and get to where we need to be academically, that's the missing piece right now.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Why do you call it just secondary instead of middle? Why is there not a focus on the middle school piece?
It would incorporate it's middle and secondary, so it just, we say secondary.
About
Right,
6 through 12.
right.
Because that's going to be a problem if they're not thinking of middle schools.
Yeah, excuse me, I have a question or a comment. I think we're incorrect when we say that we are creating a secondary curriculum director. What we're doing is we're eliminating the director of curriculum, and we're having two. One K through 5, K through 5, and another one. So we're eliminating the director of curriculum, we're developing two. Correct? Because we're changing the entire scope. Right now you're K through 12, or pre-K through 12. So we need to define this so that we have one that's pre-K through 5 and the other one that's 6 through 12. So we have two positions. We're only adding one, but we truly have two new positions because the one definition is being changed. So I think that in order to do it properly, we should do that. Get it right, we're only adding one person, okay? And I don't have a problem with this, I just think we need to define the first one and the second one. So I'd like to see us add two. We're not just having a secondary, we're having the primary. So if we can, have it that we have two people, then we're fine.
On a percentage basis, how many more state, national programs have commenced in the last 4 or 5 years that we have to address?
Unfunded mandate. I mean, the whole educator effectiveness is huge, and it's in its 3rd year, but we're starting to achieve, like the PVAS roster verification that's going on right now is a month-and-a-half long process. Now that we have 3 years of data, that is worked into the teacher's final evaluation process. So that's been huge. I started talking about that, and I lost your question. The project-based assessments are looking to take hold starting next year, and those are huge at the high school level in terms of managing the students who need additional opportunities to be successful in the keystone areas. It's huge. What percentage? I don't know, but it will always come. So the ESSA, within a year or two, I suspect we'll see some changes, a lot of changes coming from the state, or some changes coming from the state, and that could impact standards. That I think it has a greater chance of impacting accountability, but also state assessments. So there's a whole realm of it coming down the pike too with the ESSA. And we don't know what that will look like, for another year at least from the state.
Safe to say in the last 4 years it's increased.
Yes.
Dr. Dittish,
Yes.
who does these directors of curriculum report to?
That'd be Mrs. Mosley, myself.
there's not a dotted line on the organizational chart, which was approved a couple months ago.
I think it's color-coded. Is it color-coded?
It's color-coded, all it has is the executive team, but there's no dotted line or solid line between the superintendent and the director of curriculums. Also, in this, and I brought it to the board's attention, that the principals are not even listed on the organizational chart. So I think if, oh, by the way, Dr. Dedish and Dr. Greenway, have you contacted similar size and faculty in the Commonwealth that would mimic us? And what do they have as both an organizational chart? Do they have two directors? I called a couple, and there's no assistant superintendent in some of these school districts. So I'm all for it, but we're talking about what, $85,000 to $100,000 to pick up a curriculum director, correct?
I don't
That
know
would be,
that.
right, you'd probably be between 80 and 100,000.
80 and 100,000.
That's,
So that has to be taken into consideration.
To answer your question, yes. You were asking Susan, I did do that research. Locally, when you look at local districts, Fairview and Girard have directors of curriculum and assessment. Erie has multiple layers of curriculum support because they're GE grant, so they're in a different kind of situation. I looked at schools that are local to us, similar in size and aid ratio to us. I looked at Hempfield School District, Boyertown, Norrisville, and Coatesville. It's a wide array of different types of structure. Some have chief academic officers and a chief student achievement officer. Others have supervisors for science, technology, and English, and a supervisor for language arts and grants. Another has an assistant supervisor for curriculum and a supervisor for math and gifted. What I found was it was different across the state, and it had to do with their individual goals and needs for their particular locale, what they were looking to bring forward. So we have done that research, and there isn't anything that would say that based on our size and aid ratio that there's a recommended number of staff at that level.
Can we have a copy of your presentation, Dr. Dedish?
Yes.
And also the schools that you contacted? Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that wraps up policy and personnel.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Dennis.
Thank you, Ms. Moving on now to instruction and student services. Mr. Pincer,
Yes, Mr. Hosford asked me to fill in for him this evening.